Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. Brian Grady and Chip Nellinger joining us. Brian saw some pretty significant moves in the soybean market this week. Is it just South American weather right now that's driving that?
No, it's South American weather, especially with everything that's going on with the soybean crop down in Brazil, but also in Argentina. The change of leadership there, the new president coming in, his new economic plans, and everything that entails, and the market's still trying to figure out what that'll mean as we move forward. But there's a lot of moving parts in South America right now.
Yeah, we'll get into Argentina's new president here in a second. But Chip, when we were talking about South America last weekend on the show after we saw USDA's latest report not making many adjustments there, and they talked about how it's simply just too early right now when it comes to South American weather. But now are we getting into the heat of it?
Yeah, we really are, especially for the bean crop down there. It is certainly crunch time the next 6 or 8 weeks. They had a little bit of a delay getting that crop planted. They were waiting on some rain and it was too dry to germinate seed. But now the crop's in the ground, and the next 6 or 8 weeks, as you get into January and the first couple weeks of February, really are more important. And it's less than ideal down there. They have received a little bit of rainfall in some of those dry areas, but the 10-day forecast here has triple-digit heat again. They've really battled the heat all season long down there, and really just a lack of rain, way below normal rainfall. So the market, the bean market especially, has been a little bit reserved, putting a bunch of weather premium in it. But I think especially as you turn the calendar to January, it's really going to start mattering a lot more to that bean crop down there.
Yeah, you weigh the impacts on soybeans, you weigh the impacts on their safrinha corn crop. Right now, when you look at weather and the potential damage that it could do you think that this could have a bigger impact on soybeans or corn, Brian?
Actually, I think it's corn, soybeans up front, but the safrinha corn crop in Brazil accounts for about 3/4 of their total production, and so that's a story that will be told as we move forward, because that crop isn't planted until after soybeans are harvested. So the market still has some time, and I think that's why we haven't seen the corn market react to the Brazilian stuff yet, because they do have time, and they're taking their time. They're waiting to see how whether or not the weather situation turns around. But safrinha corn acreage is going to be down, and probably down more significantly than what the market has been anticipating all the way through.
Chip, Brian had mentioned Argentina's new president taking some drastic steps to address some of the economic challenges that they have there. There's some rumors going around, like they could beef up their wheat production by as much as 60%. They're going to do away with some export taxes. I mean, what rumors are out there, and is there any truth to it right now?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of rumors. I think the one thing that the market reacted to initially, we saw kind of midweek some weakness in our corn, bean, and wheat market here, was almost overnight, or essentially overnight, a 60% devaluation of their currency. And so, all things beyond that put aside, that devaluation of their currency is going to make them more competitive in the world market. Now, there's been all kinds of talk about doing away with export taxes, and I think the president would like that. But I think that needs approval from Congress, and his party doesn't have the majority in Congress. In fact, there was a little bit of talk that they're actually going to increase corn and wheat export taxes here initially. So that export tax situation is really a volatile situation. Nobody knows anything about that yet, how that will turn out. But the devaluation of the currency, I think, in the big picture, is something that definitely is puts them in a more competitive standpoint, irregardless of their export tax situation. Now, in the short run, they don't have anything to really export right now anyway. But as they get a new crop here several months down the road, that really puts them in a better position as their currency devalues against other currencies in the world.
How much more of a competitor could they become, Brian?
Well, we saw the impacts from last year's drought ravaged crop and what it had here in the United States for soy product exports. So their production is going to increase significantly year over year, just because they're returning to a more normal weather pattern with the El Nino situation. So they will be much more of a competitor. I think what the market needs to weigh right now is we're getting back some of that Argentine production that was lost last year to drought. How much is Brazil going to lose, and what's the net impact between the two countries?
All right, well, just getting started with our marketing conversation. Are the highs in the cattle market? We're going to ask Chip and Brian that coming up later on the show. Stay with us. We need to take a quick break.